The first time the word church was used in the scriptures was alongside with the gate of hell. And we need to understand why Jesus Christ used the word the church and alongside the gate of hell. So in this topic, we'll be discussing this extensively, and I have 7 points to talk about in this topic. So before we go ahead into the topic, I would like to read Matthew chapter 16 from verse 13 to 19. Just try to follow me as I read this because you need to understand it as well. When Jesus Christ came into this region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" So they said, "Some say John the Baptist, some Elijah, and others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered and said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus answered and said to him, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven." Okay? "And I also say to you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades shall not prevail against it. And I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatsoever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." So this is the scenario. This is what happened, and this is the passage. However, I would like to talk about 7 things in this passage for us to understand what Jesus Christ was saying and how to overcome the situation. The first thing is the style of the teaching of Jesus. So Jesus Christ is a great teacher, not just a teacher, not just a school teacher. It gives life experiences, life example for his disciples to understand the scenario. So let's, for example, when Jesus Christ wants to teach his disciples about tax, he gave them the coin and asked them whose image is on it. And they said, "Caesar." And it was like, okay, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. That's simple. When he wanted to teach them about faith and fruitfulness and the expectation of God about you being fruitful, it took them to the fig tree so that he would be able to carry out the expression. When he wanted to teach them about multiplication, he brought out things for them to multiply. Okay, so this is how Jesus Christ does his teaching. So the second point I want to talk about is about what is Caesarea Philippi. If Jesus Christ has talked about the gate of hell in a different location, it might not have rang much bell to the disciples because they understood what the gate of hell was. The gate of hell was a physical location in Caesarea Philippi. So Caesarea Philippi is an important location for the people of Israelites. Why? Because it's a place filled with altars to the god called Pan. Pan is an half human, half goat god, which is known for a god of fertility. And it's from the word Pan, which is that god's name, where they got the word panic from. Because the expression of Pan to strangers causes panic. So this gives me an understanding as well that panic is not just a normal action. It is also demonic sometimes. If you've seen people who have panic attack, sometimes, not everybody, sometimes they may need deliverance from such attack. So, but that's not what we are talking about today. So Jesus Christ took his disciple to Caesarea Philippi to give them this teaching. At Caesarea Philippi, there is an altar to this god called Pan. And under that altar, we have what is called the gate of hell. The gate of hell is like an opening into the hill where a stream of water goes into. And that place is said to be the gate to the underworld. And it is called the gate of hell. So the people of Israel don't go there because it's abominable. They don't even touch things offered to idol, not to talk of going to the shrine. So it was as bad as that. But Jesus Christ took his disciples for a field trip to Caesarea Philippi, which was abominable to people of Israelites. So, and at that point, he used the word the gate of hell, which was literally in front of them. So what does this mean when Jesus Christ used the word the gate of hell? So the next thing I would like to talk about is the confession of Peter, where he said, "You are Christ, the Son of the living God. It would interest you to know that the people of Israel don't believe Jesus as Christ, as Messiah. They don't. But Peter was able to affirm that as a Jew, that you are Christ, the Son of the living God. So that was strange. So Jesus Christ now made another reference to what Peter has talked about. And that's the next thing I would like to talk about, which was flesh and blood has not revealed this to you. And it dawned on me that flesh and blood can reveal. Meaning that not all revelations are from the Spirit of the Lord. Flesh and blood can also reveal. So sometimes we may be thinking that God has revealed something to us, but it may actually be our intellect. It may be our human understanding and not God. So it is important for us to understand the difference between the revelation from flesh and blood and my Father in heaven. So the understanding of what Peter was saying was that despite the fact that I'm a Jew and I'm in front of one of the gods that is mostly known among the Israelites, I still see you as Christ, as the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Because that God where they were, which is the God Pan, also claimed to be the Son of God. But Jesus Christ was being affirmed by Peter to be the Son of the living God, which is incredible. And the next point that I would like us to talk about is, on this rock I will build my church. The foundation of the church is our understanding and our acceptance that Jesus is actually Christ. Jesus Christ is not just a storyteller. Many people believe that Jesus Christ is just someone who teaches about morality. You would have heard many people who say, oh, I love the teachings of the Bible. It teaches us to be like this, like this, like this. That's not what a Christian does. Christianity starts from being Christ-like. So Jesus is saying that this revelation that you've given will be the epitome or the bedrock of the church. And don't forget, the name of Peter was not actually Peter, it was Simon. Okay, so Jesus Christ named him Peter and was saying that on this revelation that you've given, I will build my church. And the next important thing I would like to talk about is now the gate of hell. The gate of hell here, just like I've said earlier, is actually a literal location in that location called Caesarea Philippi, and it's a part of the location of the gods Pan. So Pan is a god that was known to be a god of fertility, and also immorality and sexual perversion was known to this god as well. So Jesus Christ is saying that even the gate of Hades, the gate of idolatry, the gate of demons, the gate of the devil will not prevail over the church. So it is not just about we understanding what Jesus Christ said. It's that we understood the content, the context, and the location of him talking about the gate of hell. So the gate of hell he was talking about was not somewhere mysterious. The gate of hell he was talking about was about the god Pan, and that gate, which is known as the gate to the underworld, will not prevail over the church. And the last point I want to make is in verse 19. And I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. What does this mean? In relation to what Jesus Christ has been talking about, he said the gate of hell will not prevail against the church, isn't it? And he's now saying, I will give you key of the kingdom of heaven, so that whatsoever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven, whatsoever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. This literally means that over that your territory, whatever is going on, you can shut them down. Yeah, I believe it so strongly. If immorality is going on in that territory, it is our responsibilities as the follower of Jesus to shut them down. How? Using the keys of the kingdom of heaven. I'll make another video about the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and if you've watched some of my videos, you would have learned one or two things about how to shut down a territory spiritually. Yeah, if you like this, if you enjoy this video, try to like it, subscribe to this channel, and share to your friends. Thank you so much. I'm Isaiah. Bye bye.